problem that I chose to do is a problem that I would do in my communications classroom. I would do this problem with almost every single one of my students working on basic addition. So I chose to do 10 plus 5. Here in the concrete stage, what you would want to do is you would want to get manipulatives, something that students can actually tangibly hold and manipulate themselves in order to represent the numbers. So I used what I had here at home with batteries. Students, for the first number, they would get 10 tangible items. Then they would move over and get more tangible items representing the second number, so 5. They would count out 10, then they would count out 5. Then, in order to find out the answer, you would have them count all of them together. Altogether, we know that this equals 15. So, in the concrete stage, you're wanting to provide something students can actually touch and move and feel in order to represent the numbers. Once students have mastered this stage, they would move over to the representational stage, where they use pictures to represent the numbers. I have a student in my class who loves to use smiley faces to represent her numbers. I also have students that like to use things like tally marks. Anything that the students can draw to represent their numbers will work. So, first the student would draw 10 smiley faces over here. Then they would draw 5 more smiley faces, and then they would add them all together, and you would end up with 15 smiley faces. So at this stage, you're having the students draw pictures in order to represent the numbers. So you start at concrete with the tangible items, you master that stage, you move over to representational, which is where students draw pictures, and when they master that stage, with 15, you move over to the abstract phase, which is you use symbols to represent the problem you were doing. Because I'm doing a more basic math problem, 10 plus 5, I would just use the symbols used to represent each number. A 1 and a 0 for 10, a 5, and a 1 and a 5 for 15. In higher math grades, you can use things such as X's and Y's and letters and different things in order to represent what you're trying to represent. At the level that I work with, we would just use the numbers themselves to represent the symbols. The symbols represent the numbers. So once again, we start with the concrete stage, tangible manipulatives that students can actually touch and feel and move to represent a problem. Move over to representational, where they draw pictures to represent the numbers. Students won't necessarily need to know 10 plus 5. It's good to have it there in both these stages, so they're able to start recognizing that this stands for this, but this is what you want them to master. The tangibles is what you want them to master, until we get to this stage where you want them to master the numbers themselves. So once again, you start with concrete with the tangibles, move over to representational with the pictures, and then you move to abstract with the actual symbols.